Hello everyone, Dr. Sue here. Wonderful to connect with you once again. Here we are for the short answer. It is my great pleasure to bring to you messages around the world for our community in this short answer every month. And so it's my delight to be here. I'm sitting in the teaching room in my home where we've had many people packed into this room and people sitting on the stairways and hanging out the doors, etc. Many a time over the years, and it's a great joy to be sitting in this room sharing with you all around the world. For those of you that have been here, you know the feeling, you know the vibe. Yes, the hawk has been flying outside the window all day as usual, and the fish are doing their thing in the koi pond out back. So everyone from here sends our love to you, and it's wonderful to connect with those of you that have never been here, and just welcome you into this space. So, the short answer is an opportunity to just drop some messages in that we can remember, that we can connect with, and that can empower us. And so that's the point of gathering here. I'd like to make a couple of announcements for you beforehand, just so that you know other things that are going on. We've certainly been providing a lot and coming out into the world a lot and trying to stream and to broadcast as many things as we can. We also have some new programs that are coming, which I don't have the dates yet for to announce, but I'm going to be doing a remote healing teaching you how to do remote healing. So whether you're already a practitioner or not, the initial levels of this course are going to invite everyone around the planet to learn how to work with the energies in a distance fashion and help to harmonize the energy frequencies of others, those that we care about, or cultures at large. So I invite you to plug into that. I'll be sending out the dates for that very soon. Very much looking forward to that. And then those of you that are best practitioners, we will have special sessions for you to apply that work into the work of bioenergetics as you've already been studying with us. So really trying to do everything that I can to contribute to the great grid transformation that is happening for humanity. And I thank you guys for plugging in today and being a part of this extraordinary conversation, this extraordinary time, and the opportunity that we have to come together. So a couple of announcements that I do have. I want to remind you that we're doing free body awake yoga for a little bit longer. I'm trying to hang in there as long as I can. Things are picking up, and there's a lot of other responsibilities that I have and commitments that I have, but I'm hanging in there because I'm getting the feedback all the time about what a difference it's making in your lives, and I'm so touched. In fact, I read a letter from Shirley today. The letter came a while ago, but I didn't get into the office to pick up the mail there, and made me cry. Just the sharing that you gave me. So thank you so very much for sending that in and allowing us to get the feedback. There are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of those that come in all the time. But for some reason, this one landed in my hands, and boom, it just cracked me open today. So we are blessed, aren't we? We are so blessed to be able to connect in this amazing conversation. So free body awake yoga is tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Eastern time again, and Monday and Thursday next week as well. You can just start to plan with that and keep that in your rhythm as long as you can, so that we can anchor the consciousness in the core of the body, where we can use the body to help us filter sanity out of the chaos. That's what it's all about. So there's that. There is also the free monthly healing transmission that is coming up, I believe next week, June 24th, Wednesday evening at 8:30 Eastern Time, and it's an hour-long transmission. I'm going to take us into the still point this month. We're ready. Been working with the energies and a massive group of people that are connecting, and so I have it orchestrated in such a fashion in my own consciousness of how we're going to do this. But we're going to stack up the column and sit at the still point to receive this transmission collectively around the world. So I'm very much looking forward to sharing that with you. We also have the energy codes level 1, a fast track version of level 1. So if you want to get in and get it down and get out and nobody gets hurt and it's a beautiful thing. That's coming up June 27th and 28th. In 2 days, we're going to do the manifesting content and the level 1 content packed in. So in that packing it in, we're going to get all of the techniques and the technology that is required to really understand how to master this connection of circuitry for energy flow, for your consciousness to truly embody. You know, enlightenment is important. Everyone is enlightened. Embodiment is the key. The key is, can we embody what we awaken to? Can we be that and walk and talk as that? Can we infuse that disposition into our very way of living? Can we make our decisions and be in a way with others in all circumstances that is inclusive, that is loving, that is kind, that is filled with possibility and certainty and clarity and love? And so the fast track might be something you or someone that you know might benefit from plugging in right now, to catch a wave of the next advanced course that I'll be teaching online thereafter, and all sorts of opportunities to really become adept at a masterful level. Levels 3 and 4 in the energy codes offer up even much more content information than is even in the book. So just trying to give you some awareness of everything that is available to you. And then I also have in front of me here to mention to you, we will be doing a modulated level 1 starting in August, which is a couple of hours a week over several weeks, starting in August. If that's an easier way for you to learn, just a little bit at a time and then soak it in, know that that's coming. You'll be receiving some information about that from us very soon as well. Live streaming this fall, we're going to be live streaming Energy Codes Level 3. We're going to be live streaming the Body Awake Yoga Intensive. So if you're interested in learning everything about the asanas and what they activate and stimulate inside the high brain centers and in the different various systems of the body and how to integrate that through the sacred geometries of yoga, know that that is very near and dear to my heart, and I'll be looking forward to sharing that with you. We are also going to be live streaming the content from our Kashi retreat. Kashi is going to be live streaming their pujas. We're going to make special arrangements with them to be able to plug into that as well. And all the while, each day, I'll be teaching you about the Hindu gods and goddesses and how they actually are representing different aspects of our own nervous system and our own physiology, and that it is written as these stories and what is sometimes referred to as Hindu mythology. I don't like to refer to it as mythology because that, along with Greek mythology, I feel were actually truths that were embedded into story form so that the truths could be preserved. People learn the stories and they can preserve the understanding. What happened along the way is we forgot that it was actually a truth, and we started being attracted to the mythology because we were drawn to it for some reason. And the reason is it's because it's a true, pure description of who we actually are. And the benefit of learning the connection there is allowing you to become masterful at activating those gods and goddesses, the deity, the divine within you. Through your own divine architecture and physiology, you can start to animate as the one that you're supposed to be, not the one that is attempting to survive and to make do. So those are some announcements and things that I love to share with everyone, but I do want to drop into our short answer and then give people an opportunity to click into the masterclass afterward if they are not already a part of our gold membership. If they're not a part of our gold membership, then there'll be a link in the chat that you can find that you can plug into and join us for the masterclass, which will be starting at in about 35 minutes or so. Okay, so it started about a quarter of the hour. So right now, I'm going to just drop into a short answer message for you. Okay, so I'm always looking to, what is it time to share? What is relevant? What's happening here? What's evolving in consciousness? What are people struggling with? What do they need to be celebrating? What do we need to be remembering? And how can I be of service? That's how my day is spent in between all the meetings and the other broadcasts and the interviews that I have all day long. And what dropped in these moments today was a term in Eastern Sanskrit called ahimsa. And it means nonviolence. And it means that we would would move in a sattvic way, meaning a divine way in life. I just want to remind you that you are made of multiple dimensions. You are not just a human being. You are a multidimensional being that is being human at this time. And by being human, it means that you've taken the vast array of consciousness that you are, all of the vibrational frequencies that comprise consciousness itself, and you're compressing it and compressing it and compressing it and compressing it and compressing it all the way to the physical dimension. And within that physical dimension, you still are all that you were in the unified field. There's no difference. You're just in a different form. You are energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only changes form. It changes shape, it changes phase, but it's still the same. This is true about you. You're made of everything that is, and you have compressed yourself right here to this physical focal point. And if you are operating as your true self, you're operating in a sattvic or a divine way. Your way of being is the flow of the universe if you do not alter it in any way. When you are honest and you speak your truth, the truth as open-heartedly as you can possibly perceive it, and you don't become arrogant, assuming that your truth is the only truth, but that you allow what you think and believe and feel to come truthfully out of your mouth, it will get updated if it's not accurate. You will get feedback that tells you, that belief isn't really working for you. That truth that you perceive as the truth could be opened or expanded or perhaps grounded or integrated in these kinds of ways. If you get feedback that attempts that you make to be successful in life aren't working, or the attempts that you make to make your relationship better, more meaningful, more intimate, or close, or loving, kind, and generous, if those aren't working, there's a reason. If your health and your vitality isn't expressing, no matter how good you eat and how much you exercise and how early you go to bed and all of the things that we know we could be doing, if we're doing them and it still isn't working for us, there's a reason. And it isn't because you're a bad person. It isn't because you're undeserving. It isn't because it's not meant to be for you. It isn't that. What it is that somewhere inside of you, you have adopted ways of perceiving self that are incorrect. You've adopted ideas about yourself that are inaccurate. You've adopted then, therefore, ways of being in the world that don't work for you because you're compensating for this lie that you've been telling yourself unknowingly all this time. Perhaps you've been shouldering efforts that you really don't need to be shouldering. Perhaps you've been carrying a load that really isn't yours to carry. Perhaps you haven't been showing up in ways that you think you are, but perhaps you could drop down into your heart of hearts and breathe in your belly of bellies and allow the central channel to become animated with your breath. And if you don't know how to do that, join us in the masterclass and let me teach you how to do that, because that's what it's all about. Because as we begin to breathe up and down in this central channel, we start to emanate and radiate as the truth that the cosmos holds. Not just a personal truth, but a truth that is bigger than our personality has adopted along the way. Thinking that we were never enough for our fathers, or thinking that we were too attached to our mothers, or thinking that we were never enough for our mothers, and maybe we were too attached to our fathers, or maybe we were disappointed by or disappointing both, or some other variation of this, all of which is a temporary impression that we've been holding on to that alters how the energy flows through our system. And when that altered energy gets to continue to flow through our system, it continues to alter our reality, our exchanges. The movie that we're watching on the movie screen becomes altered as well. So then we're walking and talking inside of something that we find frustrating, we find limiting in some way, or perhaps we find it starting to open because we've had to go home and sit down, and we're being in a way that we weren't being 6 months ago. And perhaps inside of that, you're starting to realize, whoa, there's some stuff in here that I need to tap. I need to find it. I need to put my finger on it. I can feel a rumble. can feel something changing inside of me, or maybe you're tapping it and you're waking up to the fact that it's amazing and it's beautiful, and who's in here is actually quite sattvic on their own. When Satyam is the way of being, there is a divine presence about you that makes you not have to work so hard to get what you choose, what you truly, truly desire. If you're having to work hard to make things happen in your life, then chances are you're on a different path than you really need to be on. If it's becoming overwhelmingly difficult and blowing your circuits and you just can't seem to make things happen, maybe it's not your path. If you're saying, I think that would be awesome, and boom, all of a sudden it unfolds, guaranteed, that's your flow. But the conversation today is do no harm. The conversation today is speak the truth. That's how you do no harm. When the universe is pouring through you and you're allowing yourself to be a universal being, meaning your mind is the universal mind. Like there's a giant funnel pouring into you, into this channel that drops into this toric field that creates this body of energies that becomes our physical body that we live inside of. It becomes this vehicle. And so if we truly want to allow that to be who we are, then there's no interruption of this universal truth as it comes through us. We don't alter it. But let me remind you that the universal truth tells you you are magnificent. The universal truth tells you you deserve everything. The universal truth tells you you deserve health and vitality, loving relationships, abundance, creativity, innovation, healing. It tells you that's what you're made of. It tells and it speaks that there's nothing but that ever happening, that there's room for all of us and that all of us are needed, that we can collaborate in ways that we never knew before, and that's what life is all about. Can I go in this direction, and this direction, and this direction, and find people and places and circumstances that I never knew I loved? Turns out I do. If we just open ourselves to that kind of a disposition, we automatically become a universal being. We become the one we were built to be. And if there's any kind of harmful message going on inside of you, like, you probably can't handle that, you're probably not good enough, they're never going to select you, it's not in your cards, it's never going to happen, that things are never going to change. These kinds of lies that we hold and possess as dissonant energy frequencies are causing a disconnect between our experience of being a universal being and being the universal being that we truly are. We really are that. And the question is, are you having that experience? Are you operating as if infinite possibility is you? That you are infinite possibility? You don't have infinite possibilities. You're made of that. And so, to do no harm, of course we initially think it means do no harm to your brother. Do no harm to your sister. And there is no one out there that is not your brother and your sister. We, of course, immediately think in terms of, can we live together in harmony? Can we just love each other? Can we give ourselves permission to explore what it's like to love someone I don't even know? Especially if they're doing something that I don't agree with. Especially that individual is acting out of ignorance and, of course, needs love more than they need your anger. But it doesn't mean don't stand with clarity and certainty and bring it. But my question to you is, what are you bringing? Are you bringing harm to your neighbor? Or are you bringing love? Are you bringing compassion? Are you bringing possibility? Because that's the truth of who you are. The truth of who you are is compassion and love and beginning again and completely filled with possibility. And yet, none of that is even possible, my friends, if we do not have that going on inside of us. We cannot begin to relate to such a thing if we are not aware of what it takes to do that inside of us. So if there are lies that I'm allowing to continue that exist inside of me that are things such as there's something I need to outrun, there's something I can't have time for, there's something that I cannot hear, there's something that I'm not okay with if it starts to happen. If I'm overly sensitive, I'm bearing a lie. I'm not a steward of the truth, because the truth is I can handle anything. I can be present with anything, with any vibrational frequency. To do no harm means to say no lie, to speak nothing but truth, and to speak or to think or to feel or to be or to emanate nothing but truth would have you living the life of your dreams. So if there has seemed to be an obstacle, maybe even an elusive one that I can't put my finger on, that is in the way of having the job that you want, or performing in the job the way that you would love to, or being the person that you would love to be for your spouse or your children or your siblings or your parents, or however it might be expressing in your life, if there is anything that you would love to see open up, I want to invite you to ask yourself, where inside of me do I feel some kind of charge when I think about that situation? And I'm going to invite you to give it a hug and start breathing up and down through your central channel. Because if you will hug that area that becomes activated when you even think of one of these obstacles, you start to build the circuitry that allows you to flow the truth, to allow the universe to pour through you as the universal truth, instead of having to alter itself just to squeeze through the filtering system that you've created over the last several decades. There is a reason that things aren't happening, and it isn't because you're broken or that something is missing or that something is wrong. It isn't that at all. In fact, all it is that there are parts of you that you have not yet embraced, that there's been a prejudice against, that you've thought, no, that's not me, no, I'm not like that, no, that can't be. I'm going to invite you to your sattvic self, that sacred soulful self that would take a moment and investigate that and see, maybe I could be that way. Do you say, well, I'm not creative? Do you say, well, I don't have time for those kinds of things? Or do you open to exploring your creativity? Do you open to exploring the spaciousness that actually does exist if you only let it? Are you open? Sattva is this sacred, divine, holy balance of things. And I'm inviting that instead of ahimsa. Ahimsa, do no harm. To do no harm is to stop the judgment. Judging and comparing, judging and comparing. America's favorite pastime. The world's favorite pastime. Humanity's Achilles heel. Judging and comparing, judging and comparing. Catch yourself, and compassionately love those tendencies that you catch your mind tending to do. Because the moment that you catch it, you break the pattern. And if you take it to the body in that moment and start finding where are you activated when you've caught yourself doing these things, give it a hug and start breathing up and down the central channel with the 4 anchor points that you will find described for you beautifully inside the Energy Codes book. Inside that book, you have access to all that information. Inside the level 1 that I'm just mentioning, absolute guidance, take you hand in hand and walk you through the process and get you excellent at it so that you become a beneficial presence on the planet in an unwavering fashion. In ancient Hinduism, there is reference to the sages and the seers and the knowers that as they would live in the forest in harmony with the trees and the rivers, etc., and the animals, the flora and the animal kingdom, that as they were allowing nothing but truth to move through them, that nothing but truth would surround them, and that animals would come and commune with them in a way that wasn't a dissonant differential. There was no fear, because there was a harmonious energy being emitted from them. When you learn to speak your truth and to action that truth and to step toward your truth, or to sit down if that's what your truth is asking you to do, and to just be present with yourself or with another, if that's what the ultimate truth would bring you to a state of harmony through doing, when you do that, there's an energetic vibrational frequency that emanates off the surface of the skin that actually has a neutralizing effect on someone next to you that isn't doing that. It's a more potent and powerful frequency than the one that your neighbor is harboring or hosting. And it has a neutralizing effect. And even if there are 2 people who have disharmony between them, if one who is committed to this harmonious presence and truth that I'm speaking of steps into their presence, the discordant energy running between them is cut. It's severed. and they neutralize without even knowing why. So this is in the Yoga Sutras. It's Sutra number 35. It's referencing this idea that in the space of ahimsa, when sattvic energy is present, it has a ripple effect on exponentially other. The entire bandwidth of human consciousness can be impacted by your singular choice to, no matter what, stand in what's true, stand in what's loving, stand in what is possible, and be unwaveringly present to that with a singular focus, that is what brings unity. If we will collect ourselves as a community, we can have an exponential movement type of impact on humanity if we only singularly make that choice. That's all it takes. All you have to do is make the choice to stand in that space no matter what. When a rumble comes up inside of you, you open instead of clamp down. If you're going to clamp down on Mula Bandha and squeeze your shoulder blades and start breathing in your belly and breathe up and down your central channel if you can. And allow that to be why you're here, to find more ways every day to bring that right into the mix. And in this way, we will begin to have an impact on human consciousness. It doesn't take that many people. If we have 10,000 people around the planet focusing on unity consciousness with an unwavering commitment to creating that inside their system, not just try to create it out there, because we can't truly create it out there unless we're coming from that vibrational frequency in here. But if we had only 10,000 people that were masterful at doing that, we cannot not impact critical mass. And so my short answer this month is about do no harm. Allow no harm. Allow only the truth to move through you. Breathe the truth. Trust the truth. The truth will literally carve a pathway in your life where things start coming toward you instead of you chasing them. Abundance and opportunity falls into your path. Things start to align in an orchestration that you wonder, did I create this? Is someone up there looking out for me especially? Because things certainly seem to be unfolding magically in my life. When this is happening, you know you're tapping what I'm speaking of. It is available to you. It is what you are made of. It is what we are meant to be living and breathing and animating. And it is what we are here to share inside of this Energy Codes community. It is my greatest joy to tap this frequency and share it with you and turn it on inside of you. So I'm hoping that this does this. The short answer is my attempt to tag it in a quick and efficient manner. And soon we'll be diving into the masterclass in about 15 minutes. If you want to click on that link, it'll take you to a page. You can sign up and join us for the masterclass. And I'm going to be diving into some very relevant conversations for what's happening in our world today. A great evolutionary impulse is rising. There is a greater opportunity in this now moment than you have ever witnessed in your lifetime. And I'd love to enhance that and integrate it for you in the masterclass in just a few moments. So we'll see you in 15 at 1:15 for the masterclass. My love to you all. Many, many blessings to you all. Namaste.